She sat near the edge of the hospital corridor, her wheelchair slightly angled toward the glass doors that opened to the outside world. Snow fell quietly beyond them, melting as it touched the ground. People passed by with coffee cups, clipboards, hurried steps, and tired eyes. Doctors, nurses, visitors. No one stopped. Except one man. He wasn't supposed to be there long. He had already been running late for work, already calculating how much overtime he'd need to cover rent this month, already feeling the familiar weight of exhaustion settle into his shoulders. But something about the stillness of the girl made him slow down. She couldn't have been more than 7. Her legs lay motionless beneath a thick pink coat, tucked carefully into the wheelchair. Her hair was neatly braided, as if someone had taken time that morning to make sure she looked presentable, dignified, loved. Her eyes followed every person who walked by, hopeful, searching, then dimming slightly each time they moved on. When their eyes met, she lifted her hands. Her fingers trembled as they formed the words, "Please, help." The man froze. He didn't understand sign language fluently, not really. But he knew enough. Enough to feel something crack open in his chest. Her name was Emma. He would learn that later. But in that moment, she was just a child asking the world for help in the only way she could, and the world was walking past her like she was invisible. The man's name was Daniel. A single father. 38 years old. Widowed. Exhausted in ways sleep never fixed. His life revolved around alarm clocks, packed lunches, unpaid bills, and the quiet ache of missing his wife, Sarah, every single day. Raising his daughter alone had taught him how fragile life could be, how quickly everything you love can change. That's why he stopped. He knelt down so he was eye level with Emma, careful not to startle her. "Hey," he said softly, even though he knew she couldn't hear him. "Old habits. Gentle ones." Emma studied his face, her eyes cautious but curious. Slowly, she raised her hands again and repeated the signs, more urgently this time. "Please help me." Daniel swallowed hard. He signed back, clumsy but sincere. "I'm here." Her face changed instantly. Relief flooded her expression so suddenly that Daniel had to look away for a second. He wasn't prepared for how deeply it would affect him to be the one person who didn't ignore her. Emma pointed down the hallway, then toward a closed door with peeling paint. She mimed waiting, then hunger, then cold. Piece by piece, her story emerged through gestures, expressions, pauses. She had been there all day. Her father hadn't returned. The hospital staff assumed someone else was with her. Someone always assumes someone else is responsible. Daniel learned later that Emma had been born deaf. A year later, a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down and took her mother's life. Her father, overwhelmed, underpaid, and struggling with his own grief, did his best, but life kept knocking him down faster than he could stand back up. That day, he had gone to fill out paperwork for assistance. He never came back. Daniel didn't know any of this yet. All he knew was that a child had been left alone in a place full of people, and somehow, no one had seen her. He stood up and walked to the nurse's station, his jaw tight, his heart pounding. "This little girl has been sitting here for hours," he said. "She's alone." Things moved quickly after that. Questions. Phone calls. Apologies that felt too late. Emma was given food, a blanket, a quiet room. But she kept looking toward the door. Waiting. Daniel stayed. He didn't know why, exactly. Maybe because leaving felt wrong. Maybe because he saw his own daughter in Emma's eyes. Maybe because some moments in life ask you who you really are, and this was one of them. When Emma realized he wasn't leaving, she signed a simple question. "Why?" Daniel signed back slowly. "Because someone should stay." That night, Emma's father was found. He hadn't abandoned her. His phone had died. He'd collapsed from exhaustion in a waiting room on another floor after working a double shift the night before. The guilt nearly destroyed him when he realized what had happened. He cried openly when he saw Emma safe. Emma didn't cry. She signed something instead. "I was scared. But someone stayed." Daniel tried to fade into the background then. He didn't want praise. He didn't want thanks. He just wanted to go home to his daughter and forget how close he'd come to something that felt too big to carry. But Emma wouldn't let go of his hand. Not physically. Emotionally. Over the next weeks, Daniel thought about her often. He wondered if she was okay. If anyone was staying now. He told himself he had done enough. Then his phone rang. It was the hospital social worker. Emma's father had been hospitalized. Long-term complications. No family support. Emma needed a temporary guardian. Daniel said no. Immediately. He had reasons. Real ones. Financial strain. Time. His own child to think about. Fear. Fear of attachment. Fear of failing. Fear of losing again. But that night, as he tucked his daughter Lily into bed, she asked him a question that unraveled him completely. "Daddy," she said, "if I couldn't talk or walk, would someone still help me?" Daniel didn't answer right away. He couldn't. The next morning, he called back. "Yes," he said quietly. "I'll help." Emma moved into Daniel's small apartment with a single suitcase and a stuffed rabbit missing one ear. Lily watched her cautiously at first, unsure how to talk to someone who didn't speak or hear. Emma taught her. Slowly. Patiently. They laughed without sound. They argued in exaggerated gestures. They became sisters in every way that mattered. Life wasn't easy. There were therapy appointments, insurance battles, moments when Daniel sat alone at the kitchen table wondering how he was going to afford groceries and hope at the same time. There were setbacks. Emma had nightmares. Lily felt jealous sometimes. Daniel felt like he was constantly one mistake away from failing both girls. But there were victories too. Emma learned to navigate the world with fierce independence. Lily learned compassion beyond her years. Daniel learned that love didn't always arrive when life was stable, it arrived when it was messy and demanded courage. Months later, Emma's father passed away. At the funeral, Emma stood, or rather, sat, quietly beside Daniel. When people approached to offer condolences, she raised her hands and signed something that made everyone pause. "He chose me." When he didn't have to. Tears spread through the room like a wave. Daniel adopted Emma officially 6 months later. The courtroom was silent as the judge read the final papers. Emma lifted her hands one last time and signed toward Daniel, her movements steady, her eyes bright. "Thank you for staying." Daniel couldn't speak. He didn't need to. Because sometimes, the most powerful promises are the ones we keep simply by not walking away. And that little girl the world once ignored. She grew up knowing that even when life takes your voice, your movement, your certainty, your worth never disappears.